Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you came out here tonight. Ms. Turner will take off the shackles when this is done. But until then, I'll talk about Costa Rica. My name is John Eden. I'm currently in the computer science program at Herzing University. My speech is going to be on Costa Rica and why you should visit there. And best case, you may want to live there. Costa Rica is a small country located in the middle of Central America, isthmus. The country itself is made up of various cultures, diversity, and traditions. What do you think when you hear about Costa Rica? Do you think about palm trees, beaches, sunny days, great food? Yes, all that is there. But there's quite a bit more that really makes up that country than we realize. Costa Rica is known for the ancient history and the government's past. What is considered the colonial period in Costa Rica began around when Christopher Columbus discovered the eastern coast in 1502. Repeated expeditions followed, leading to the first Spanish settlement of Villa Brucelas in 1524. Under Spanish rule, the country did not do very good. This is because Costa Rica's location was really out of the Spanish realm of where they really operated. So it was kind of like the red-headed stepchild, if you want to put it that way, of the Spanish colonies. And I think really eventually there was a few skirmishes that happened. Spanish, I guess they eventually kind of lost interest in the country. There wasn't much trade going on. So basically people just kind of, the Spanish people lived there, just went up into the hills and assimilated with the people. So anyway, Costa Rica joined the Central American provinces in 1821, declaring their independence from Spain. That's when they actually made it official. Following their independence from Spain, the country still had problems with their main export, which is coffee. The problem was solved with the Panama Canal. At that time, it meant that the ships no longer had to go around the Cape Hope, which back in that time was a big deal. It was a very arduous journey. In addition, its government has gone through turmoil and revolution to finally stabilize as a world economy. In 1856, William Walker decided expeditions into Central America. After landing in Nicaragua, he proclaimed himself president and reinstalled slavery. He just decided to show up in this country, say, I own it, and we're going to start slavery. He had basically a gang of thugs behind him. Okay, he then entered Costa Rica with the same intentions. That's when they declared war against Nicaragua. William Walker and his forces were forced out of Costa Rica back to Rivas, Nicaragua, where a famous battle took place, which ended the war with Costa Rica's victory. Democracy officially started in Costa Rica in 1889 with the first free elections. Costa Rica was lucky to have avoided much of the violence that plagued much of Central America in the 1900s. There have been a few dictators that have come and gone during that time, but basically they've had a pretty peaceful existence compared to that part of the world. Right now, as of 2012, the country doesn't even feel like it needs an army. So it's, I don't know what they're depending on, but they're feeling pretty secure, and they feel it's not necessary. Okay, well, there's also been three things that have really significantly helped Costa Rica achieve economic success, and we forget about that. They really do have a thriving economy going on. They're real big in tourism. They're bringing in about $2 billion a year in tourism, which also puts a lot of people to work. Costa Rica is the most visited place in Central America. Costa Rica came up with the original idea of ecotourism. It's kind of like one of your more green type of things. But basically what it is you're bringing in smaller groups to share an area instead of bringing like the busloads of people that we may do, like if you go to the Grand Canyon or something. So they keep group sizes smaller. They do more talking. There's more interaction, and it's a lot better, I think, if I were to go to Costa Rica. So anyway, agriculture makes up about 6.5% of the country's GDP. Main exports include bananas, coffee, sugar, and other tropical plants. Electronics. This is something that I learned. I didn't realize that they were so huge in electronics. This really makes me want to send a resume out to Costa Rica right now. Many electronics companies have set up shop, and are actually the 4th largest high-tech exporter in the world. You've got companies there, such as Intel just opened up there. They're looking like for another 2,500 employees. So they got quite a thriving diversity of economic and different ways to make money within the country. And they're really hard, working hard to keep their small niche communities in shape. And they're not coming through with bulldozers just knocking everything down. They want to maintain the pristine country the way it is. Because of these economic successes, poverty has reduced dramatically in that country over the past 15 years. This has let the country improve other ways. They've worked on their infrastructure, water treatment, electricity, and roadways. Good example is the agricultural industry helped produce more than 40,000 direct jobs and 100,000 direct jobs. And the electronics industry pretty much has done the same, and it's just been huge growth. But I don't think everybody has really come here to talk about, the economic portions of it. Everyone's kind of like, well, why do we want to go to Costa Rica? Well, big part of Costa Rica, the official language is Spanish. However, 85% of the population speaks English. So most people that don't know a foreign language, it's very easy for us to go to Costa Rica and get about. Your money's going to go a long way. The main religion in Costa Rica is Catholic. It's kind of interesting. The country of Costa Rica never really had their own indigenous population, like the Maya or the Inca. It was more like people from Colombia wandering over to Costa Rica that really set up their culture or history. So they never really had anything on their own. I thought something that was kind of odd though, that they have these huge concrete, what looks like concrete stone balls, hemispheres if you want to call them. Some of these weigh 14 tons scattered throughout the country, and nobody has any idea how they got there, why they're there, or what the purpose is. So there's a little bit of a mystery there on that one. The culture itself has rituals and customs, pretty much like we do. They celebrate their birthdays, graduations, marriages. They have elaborate events that host cake and all kinds of sweets. And there's always a pig on the fire. It seems to be a tradition there. Women play the role of cooking, cleaning, and childcare. They're more of a, let me just go on from that point. Men are responsible for bringing in the money, and women are more of the, caretakers of the house and so forth. More of a traditional role. That's what I was looking for. The culture is really kind of neat because they're really raised to have a lot of manners and treat people very well. So a lot of people have gone to Costa Rica. They mentioned how the people there is very friendly and very outgoing and very hopeful. Education is taken very seriously. Young children are encouraged to paint and do other activities, do some type of entertainment. They still want to keep some of the older folklore type dancing, so they try to keep a lot of that going. There's a lot of museums. They went through a period back in the 40s where they just made museums all over the country. They thought that was the way to, if people need to assimilate to something, to go forward is to have a museum, something they can look back on history, which is a good point. Basically, in conclusion, Costa Rica is a great place to visit and possibly live. If you go there on holiday, they will most likely set you up in 2 locations. The first location will probably be inside the island, more within the jungle areas. But you might have seen they have these tree houses that you can actually live in within the canopy, and they're quite exotic. They have like a little ladder or something you climb up, and you're in a giant tree house above the canopy. So you may spend a couple days there, and then at that point they take you down to the beach, and then you get to enjoy the sun and the surf and the snorkeling or whatever you like. All in all, the country is beautiful, it's easy to get around, it's inexpensive, and it's very hospitable. This makes it on my bucket list of places to go. It should be on yours also. Thanks for coming.